Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our CI Indonesia webinar session. My name is Welly Custono. I'm the Director of Canadian Education International Indonesia. For those of you that have just heard about our organization for the first time, or maybe joining this program for the first time, just a brief overview about our organization. We are a not-for-profit foundation based in Indonesia, and we are given the mandate by the Embassy of Canada here to promote Canadian education to students and parents in Indonesia and to other stakeholders as well. So this webinar series is just one of many activities that we usually organize throughout the year to promote Canadian education. And today, we also have a special guest. Joining me from Malaysia is Dian, and he is the global recruiter for King's University College at Western University. Hi, Dian. Would you like to say hi to our audience listening?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Selamat siang.
Thank you, Dian. We are glad to have your presence here, and we can't wait for your presentation. So shortly, we will surely begin. But I just want to give a brief overview to our audience about what to expect out of this morning session for them. And basically, we will have a thorough presentation from Dian about King's University College, and probably what's going on in your mind right now is what is a university college? I think that's not a term that's quite familiar to the Asian students in particular, because we are aware of college and we are aware of university, but what is this university college? And in the collateral, they probably also looking at, there are two names here, King's University College at Western University. What kind of relationship between the two organizations? So those are probably some of your questions that I'm sure Dian will explain during his presentation. But I do want to give you a special message here, is that it is possible to experience the best of both worlds. And what do I mean by that is you are able to earn a world-class degree, but you are able to learn that in a more small, conducive and interactive classroom environment. And that's exactly what King's University College offers, and what a beautiful campus. But I don't need to pitch that out because I'm sure Dian is gonna do better than that. And so without further ado, I like to turn the screen to Dian so we can begin the presentation. And please do not hesitate to submit your questions to Dian throughout the entire presentation. You can type in the chat box, and we will have plenty of Q&A session later on that to make sure that we address your questions. So at any time, if you have any questions, you're welcome to submit that in the chat box to me. Thank you very much. Dian, screen is yours. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Wally, for the fantastic introduction. So good morning, everyone. My name is Dian. Let me just start sharing my screen. Then we will begin right away. Okay. So, all right. I hope everyone's seeing my screen.
Yes, Dian. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So, yeah, today I'm going to talk to you about King's University College. And many of you might have noticed why there is a Western University right beneath of our logo. That is a myth or a confusion to many who I've spoken to. So I will actually show you why Western University and King's are so closely related. So thank you so much for being here today. I know that a morning in a Saturday, especially a Saturday or weekend, is really precious. Many of us, or maybe some of us, would actually prefer to lay on the bed, snuggle with our pillows, our bolster. Probably you're doing that right now, but I still really appreciate that you are taking your morning to spend your time with us, with CI, to know about the education in Canada, and particularly to know about King's. So these are the topics that we are going to cover for the session today. I will give you an overview. Probably you have heard a lot of it, so I will just give you a quick brief about the overview of Canada, what is the cost of studying in Canada, and also what's so special about King's University College that you are sitting here today to listen to this presentation. And of course, the last but not least, I will also talk to you about the opportunities in Canada and also what are the return of investment that you will be expecting when you are spending so much or you are investing yourself to study in Canada. So stay tuned for the whole session. All right, so as I mentioned, I will begin with an overview of Canada. So what do you know about Canada? So I know that many of you probably has been researching to study in Canada, so I'm not going to dwell too much about it. I'm just going to share with you some of the statistics that we have gathered in year 2019 and also year 2020. So probably you have known that Canada was the top 3 study destination globally in 2019, but these kind of like fluctuate a little bit. Sometimes the top 5, sometimes the top 3, depending on the time that you are looking at it. So, but one thing that doesn't change is the increase of the international student population between year 2010 to year 2020. So you can look at the graph here, all right, on the right side. The graph here actually shows you the increase of international student in these 10 years, and in overall, it's a 135% increase. And in year 2020, despite of the pandemic, we still recorded approximately 500,000 students who are currently studying in Canada at all levels. And 96% of those students who completed their higher education, which means they graduated from their university or master program, they will recommend their juniors or recommend their home country students to actually consider Canada as a study destination for their higher education. So this is actually very remarkable. Because imagine 96% of them would recommend their friends or their juniors back home to study in Canada, meaning that these students, they are really, really happy with their experience and they're very satisfied with their study experience in Canada, despite of the campus or despite of the university they're enrolled to. So this is really something that you should think about. And of course, Canada is always known for its safety, the harmonic environment, and also the quality of the education. So these are the strength point and the values that perceived by the international student, why they are considering Canada as a study destination. So this map kind of like show you a brief overall about where the students are going. All right, so you can probably realize that almost 50% of the students, they are going to study or they are studying in Ontario, and this is likely to be the trend in the future as well, and followed by British Columbia, Quebec, and also other provinces in Canada. So why I'm showing you this map, because when you are going to study no matter in Canada or you're planning to go to other countries, you should really look into a map and see where are the populations are going. So this will actually affect your cost. And of course, this will also affect the quality of the education that you are going to receive. So why is Ontario having so many international students? One of the biggest reasons is because they have a few top universities over there. That is the main reason. But of course, when you have so many people going there, the cost of living definitely will be higher than many of the other provinces. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the cost of study in Canada. So if you are planning to study overseas, or if you are a parent yourself, you are planning to send your kids to study overseas, definitely cost is a huge factor other than the quality of the education. So it's always a good idea to find out early about the cost so that you will be able to know and prepare the funds earlier so that you can send them to the education that you always want them to get. And secondly, because when your kids is applying for the visa, they have to show that they have sufficient fund in the statement. And most of the time for undergraduate students, they have to show their parents' statement. So in those statements, you need to show that you have sufficient funds to fund them for their study, at least for the first year. So there is actually some minimum requirement that you have to show in your bank account. And that statement has to be at least for 4 months. So that is some of the requirement that you have to bear it in mind. And of course, when you plan ahead, there's likely that you have the opportunities, you have the funds to give the best opportunities for your children to get the best education in any destination that you want to. The worst case scenario is always that you have a great kid. I mean, all kids are great, but you believe that your kids have the greatest potential. But the worst case is you do not have the resources to support them. Right, so that is actually very sad, and you know that if you have prepared earlier for that, you would have given the opportunity to your children or the students, they will be able to get a better education. So that's why it's always a good idea to survey early and prepare early. So now I'm going to show you what are the investment that's going to involve when you are sending your children or when the students are going abroad to study. So in Canada, on average, all right, this is an average amount, you're looking at somewhere around 25,000 Canadian dollar. So all the currency here shows is actually based on the Canadian dollar. So the education cost is somewhere around 25,000 to 30,000 per year, and the living cost is somewhere around 10,000 per year. Again, the living cost is depending on which location that you are studying. In some location, the housing is somewhere around 5,000 to 6,000. In some cities like Toronto, it might go slightly over 10,000. So it really depending on where you are studying. But on average, and especially when you're applying for the visa, you need to show in the back statement that you have at least 10,000 Canadian dollar to support your living costs. And as international student, it is mandatory for you to have an health insurance, and that health insurance that is basically depending on what are the coverage that you are subscribing to. It's normally ranging somewhere around $600 to $900 per year. All right. So for King student, I think on average they are somewhere around $700. And of course, you need to spend some on your transportation when you're going for grocery, when you're going for some of your entertainment, when you're going to explore your experience in Canada. So this is somewhere, this is the budget for an average $80 per month. That is an average for most of the students. All right. So the next thing is that this is representing the entertainment. So entertainment, of course, is also depending on the lifestyle of yourself. All right, or lifestyle of the students. So some students, they can spend whole day in the library studying. Some of them, they might need some extra spices in their life, so they would probably go and explore the different experience in Canada. So those are all the normal life that students are going through, especially for international students. But again, just to monitor on your spending, and these are the average cost that students are spending over there in Canada. All right, so some of this fee here I show is basically a one-time fee. For example, this is the application fee for students who are applying through the Ontario Application Center, the OUAC, Ontario University Application Center, and this is only applicable to the Ontario universities. So when you're applying, you need to submit a $166 application fee, and also this is the visa fee, which is $150 for the student permit application. So based on the cost of the flight is also depending on where you are flying from. From Southeast Asia, the cost is somewhere around Canadian dollar 1,500 per trip to $2,000 per trip. So depending on where you're flying and how many transitions that you need to take. So in overall, this is the amount for the first year that you're probably going to prepare for your study, all right, in Canada in the first year. But later, I'm going to show you what are the tips or what are the opportunities that you can actually look out to reduce these costs so that it will help you with your study and also your lifestyle. All right. When I presented you the $52,000 per year, some of you might immediately have this in mind, like, oh my God, what is it so expensive? Why is this so expensive? And am I going to afford this? So according to research done by a researcher called Levent in 2016, he actually compared the cost of study for international students in different countries. And some of these countries here are basically the top study destination around the world. And you can see here, all right, it's very obvious over the graph here that Australia probably tops the expenses, the cost of study in Australia. And compared to US, UK, and even Canada, so Canada is actually right at the bottom of the top destinations. So you can basically see here that Canada is actually not expensive if you compare to some other countries. But again, you need to look into, again, I have to emphasize again, you need to look into the university that you're enrolling, and also you need to look into the countries, the cities that you're going to stay. Right, this is kind of like a ratio or a common sense that if you are enrolled to a higher ranked university or you are enrolling to a private university, definitely the cost of the education, it's going to be higher when you compare to those lower ranked university, or when you're enrolling to some of the colleges. All right, so those are the variables that you have to take in mind. But this is generally an overall of the study done by Leventis and overall expenses for international students in different countries. So this is the part that I'm going to talk about King's, and I'm going to show you some examples of our students, what are our programs, and what are opportunities that you're going to get. So in a nutshell, all right, in a nutshell, King's is basically known for the quality degree programs because of Western as well, and I'm going to explain to that later. And we have a generous entrance scholarship, and I'm going to show you how generous we are as well. So we, compared to many of the huge universities out there, we have small campus, we have smaller class sizes. And why is that really important? Is because the small campus and small class sizes would actually help the student to develop the sense of community. And also it will bring the relationship between you and the lecturers and also your classmates, bring your relationship closer so that you could blend in and have a very fulfilled experience as an international student over there. Imagine if you are traveling to a foreign country, you're going to spend your time there for a 4 years time. And in that 4 years time, you are spending much of your time with the students from your own country. I might ask you a question, then what is the point for you to study abroad, right? So this is really important for you to have a full experience as an international student, is that for you to experience other cultures from different countries and also to get the experience in a foreign country. This is really important. So because we have a smaller class sizes, we have a smaller campus, we have a very supportive community. Our lecturers, they basically take good care of our students, and we have a lot of the support services that they are going to support the student as well. So I will be starting off by sharing you with a story from a student. So her name is Amanda. She basically shared her story with me, and I decided to put it on a slide to share with you guys as well. So we do have some students from Indonesia, but for Amanda, she's from Vietnam. All right, and it was the first time for her to heard about King's in 2019. She had known nothing about King's prior to that. And then when she heard about King's, she decided to find out more about King's. So when she started to do some research, the first thing that popped up in her mind is basically, we are in London. All right, so some of you might be confused. Wait, you say you're in Canada, but why are you in London? So now I'm telling you, there's more than one London in the world. All right, there are at least 2 Londons that I know of. One is in the UK, and the other one is in Ontario, Canada. All right, so the London, Ontario, Canada is in Canada is not a huge city. All right, it's the 11th largest city in Canada, so you know that it's probably like a mid-sized city. But again, if I compare it to Jakarta or compared to some of the main cities in Indonesia, the population that you are seeing here is probably not considered as a very condensed population. So it might be a very comfortable population for people from like us who have spent our lifetime in Southeast Asia. And again, if you think that you want to spend some time in Toronto during the weekend, you want to explore the city, we are also not very far from Toronto, about 2 hours drive. So that is pretty convenient. So out of all programs, these are all the programs that we are offering at King's. You probably also realize that we are only offering the arts, social sciences, the business program, and also some of the very specialized program at King's. And unfortunately, if you are looking for a science or engineering program, we do not offer them at King's. All right, so out of all programs that we are offering, Amanda actually chose one of the most popular program among international students. If you would like to take a good guess, all right, I'm not sure which one would you guess, but most of our international students will be interested in our business study, and this is the program that Amanda enrolled to. All right, so she's taking the Global Commerce program under our BMOS. So BMOS stands for Bachelor's of Management and Organizational Studies. And that is like a generic overall of the program. And then we have different specialization under this faculty. You probably have seen this as well. Internships are available in third year, and internship or co-op program is really, really a strength for students who study in Canada. Because imagine, for those work integrated program that you're enrolling, what does that mean to you? You're probably just thinking, right, okay, I will get some experience, I will spend some time in a company. That is probably the first thing that you will have in mind. But if you think further, the internship experience that you will have would actually give you a very, very good exposure to secure a job after you complete your study. So whenever you are presented with an opportunity to go for internship or go for a call, fight for it, go for it, and don't just back out from that, because that is really important. And for our program, we are also for our students who completed at our BMOS faculty, they will also have a chance to enroll to the Ivy Business School for their master study after they complete their studies at King's. So if you had not heard of Ivy Business School, I'm just going to give you an idea. Ivy Business School is one of the top business school in Canada, and I think a few years back they have been ranked as the #1 business school in Canada for a few years. So this is really, really a very privileged business school, and there are chances for our students to enroll for their master program. So I'm going to show you a quick video instead of just hearing to me speaking how great about our program. I will let you hear directly from our students to give you an idea what is the bachelor's program and what are we offering, and a quick introduction by our lecturers over there as well.
BMOS is a Bachelor's of Management and Organizational Studies, is a sort of undergraduate MBA program which gives a broad background in business, including finance, accounting, operations management, global commerce or otherwise international business, human resources, and so on.
And I also learned knowledge of basically banking skills, technology skills, stock trading, and a variety of financial skills as well.
Whether your career ends up being in finance or accounting or human resources, you need a broad business background. And so this is what the Bachelor's of Management and Organizational Studies provides students with.
All right, I hope it gives you a quick idea what is our BMOS program is all about. So this is something that I feel very positive that I heard from Amanda. This is directly from her. I didn't change what she said or change the interpretation. So she said that studying at King's is actually one of her best decisions. She liked the class size, the service that she received, and also she always feels supported by the professors, which is very important because when she feels that she's academically challenged, she can just go to the professors and get to them and help with her studies. So, of course, why she feels that it's important to be supported by the international department, because as international students, sometimes you might face some issues that you have no idea how to deal with. For example, your visa issues, visa expiry, you will have no idea how to deal with these issues. So the international department will be the place that you'll be going to. And this next thing she said, being a King student, I often go to the bookstore and library of Western whenever I feel like changing the study environment. I'm also participating in clubs from both King's and Western University. I really love and enjoy studying at King's. So by now, many of you might again get confused, right? So she's at King's, but now she mentioned about Western University. So really, what is it all about, right? So you're probably having this confusion. Western King's. So what are you talking about? Are you talking about Western or are you talking about King's? So now I'm going to show you. We are not talking either of them. We are talking the best of both worlds, right? You are taking the best from Western and you are taking the best from King's. So this is the phrase that we always use to describe the experience of our students, because they are going to enjoy the benefits that they have at King's and Western at the same time. And why is that? Because King's is actually part of Western. So just now when Mr. Welly mentioned about what's the difference between a university and a university college, so the key difference is the qualifications that they offer, right? So university is a full-fledged or full range institutions that can offer you all the programs from foundation all the way to a master PhD program. But university college, they can offer up to an undergraduate degree. So this is basically one of the key differences between the university and the university college. So King's University College is actually part of Western. We are like a subsidiary from Western. So our students who graduated from King's, they will actually earn a Western certificate, all right, which is a sample that you will see here on the left side. So this is a sample of the students who graduated at King's. As you can see, the top part is basically mentioning the University of Western Ontario, and bottom part, then only you will see it's a mention of the King's University College. But other than that, there's no difference compared to those who are completed at the Western University. And now some of you might have a question. So, all right, yeah, so what's the difference if compared to I enroll directly to Western, right? So the main idea here is if you enroll to King's, the first thing is you will have a smaller class size, and that would help you with your study, which is very important. Imagine walking into a classroom of maybe 20 students and comparing to walking to a classroom with 50 to 100 students. In which case do you think the lecturer will spend more time with the students, or the professor will spend more time with the students? Definitely will be the one with a smaller class size. All right. So this is one of the benefits for students to enroll at King's. And of course, our students will receive the scholarship as well, which I will talk about it later. And as a King student, you are not limited to only the facilities at King. You are also able to access to the facilities at Western. You can go to the library, you can use the gym. So you are basically enrolling to King's, but at the same time, you're enrolling to Western as well. So as a student, you can also join to any clubs or sports team at Western. You can join King's, you can join Western. That is up to you, and that is totally your freedom. And of course, you have the freedom to take a double major or double minor with other programs across other campuses. All right. So this is the flexibility that you will have when you enroll at King's. So I've kind of like picked a few faculties or a few departments to share with you some of the programs that we are offering, so that you will have a better idea about what King's is offering.
My name is Victoria, and I'm a fourth-year student in the Catholic Studies for Teachers program. The reason I love King's is the incredible relationships that are fostered between faculty, staff, and students. It really makes you feel as if you're at home.
All right, just how you have been hearing me about the class sizes, now you hear it directly from the student, so you know that the student really love this kind of small class size and those interactions. So under the Arts and Humanities program, we do offer a wide range of programs covering like Catholic studies, the philosophy, religion, and society. We do cover the Islamic studies as well, or the Middle East studies. So these are under our world religion and the cultures program. So this actually have a huge range of different specialization for our students to study. So one thing I have to emphasize here, if at King's University, we kind of like, you can probably look it up yourself. King's University College is a Catholic university, but that doesn't mean that we are not friendly to other people. That actually means the opposite. We are very, very open to all different cultures, right? So if you are practicing, doesn't matter which religion that you are practicing, either you are Muslim, you are Buddhist, or you are Catholic or Christian, all are welcome, because that would actually give you a very diverse culture. It gives you the diversity so that you will be better to understand each other better. At the same time, you can kind of like think in-depth study about your own belief and your own cultures as well. So this is what we are trying to offer in our campus. So the next popular programs or department that we have at King's is the Social Sciences department. So under the Social Sciences department, we actually have a few very, very popular programs, which is the Psychology program, which is the biggest school in our campus. And also the Criminology received a lot of application as well. Of course, Economics, which is one of the most popular, Economic and Finance, they are very popular among the applicants as well. So these are some of the opportunities that we offer to our students. And when they enroll out to our programs, they will actually have a very experimental course at our program to have a local and global experience. So the next, I would say, a very special program is our disability programs. So this actually kind of like helps those who enroll to the program to understand what are the potentials for those who are having disability. So one person, when he's disabled, doesn't mean that he's useless to society. They actually have limitless potential that they can offer, but just that we don't know how to unlock that. So this disability studies kind of like give you an idea on that, and you can hear from the students and the professors directly through this video.
Let's think about the ways we use the internet to tell the good stories about disability, not just the inspirational ones, but the ways in which disability is a diverse, exciting, strange, amazing thing that touches all of us. And so we should maybe start thinking and talking about it more publicly.
By the time I am in the field, I think there's going to be so many new possibilities for people with disabilities.
A lot of it's groundbreaking work into creating databases and creating this new field of study and thinking.
People that are interested in law and human rights. Disability studies is going to give you the theoretical background to understand why it is we've done disability the way we do, and the ways in which laws and policy are actually perhaps more disabling than diagnosis itself.
What drew me to disability studies is a perspective that I could use in my career and in my life.
All right, so that, I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what is the disability studies is all about. And if you're really interested in finance and wealth management, we do have a specialized program which is in cooperation with other institutions to offer you the Bachelor of Arts in Finance and Wealth Management. So this is a program that we have kind of like work in collaboration with Fanshawe and also Western University. And when you graduate, you will be able to graduate with a degree from Western and also having a diploma from Fanshawe College as well. So if you're really interested in this program, this is something you probably would want to check out as well. So another very special program we have is also the Child and Youth Studies. So this is kind of like embedded within or kind of like a subsection from the education department, but this is all specialized in the Child and Youth Studies. And instead of hearing from me, you can actually hear from our students and our professors as well.
I know people who go to teachers college, I know people who go into social work, law, so really childhood and social institutions is a good starting point for pretty much anything that you want to do working with children.
What our program offers is different. It's a study of institutions. We spend a lot of time in the program dealing with public policy, advocating for children's participation in institutions.
For me, what's at the heart of this program, Childhood and Social Institutions, is the sense that we can somehow make the world better for children. So I see it as very much a social justice approach to childhood.
It actually makes you think about the world completely differently and how we should be questioning more things. We should start doing things maybe a little bit differently and actually including children and including children's voices in everything we do.
Yeah, so this is really interesting that what they are studying, and they actually kind of like well, I think many of the time we kind of like ignore what the voices from the children, but this is actually giving a very good perspective that we should include them when we are building something. So this is really cool. So for students who are really interested in the Child and Youth Studies program, when you enroll to this program, you will also have the chance to exchange to the UK and also Sweden, because we do have partners who are kind of like offering the similar program as well. Okay, so the next thing, social justice and peace studies. So this is very unique at King's as well, and this is the only programs in Canada that combines the study of work for both social justice and peace. This program kind of like gets some popularity as well in certain countries because of the political situation or because of the social situation in their home countries. So it's probably quite a good program or quite interesting program to explore as well. So I'm going to show you the video as well, just a quick one.
I personally am applying to graduate school for policy, so applying that to real-world issues such as refugee resettlement is what I hope to go into.
Our students and our graduates, we've got them on the front lines of these issues, whether it's working within government, within the education system, or within the legal community.
Social justice and peace studies provides us the tools to critically analyze what's happening so that we can make educated claims about what's happening and the changes that should be made.
I'm often asked, what can I do with a social justice degree? And the simple answer is anything you want. We have students working in government, in law, as journalists, within nonprofit organizations. It's about equipping students with the ideas, the tools, and the strategies to be change makers in whatever their chosen field is.
Yeah, so if you are someone who are really passionate about changing other people's life, or you are really passionate about helping other people through policy making, or if you have a background in law, this is something that you probably would want to consider. All right, so just to share with you the last program that is quite unexpected, that I was really unexpected as well, is the social work program. So we are offering the Bachelor's of Social Work and Master of Social Work at King's. To my surprise, which probably due to my ignorance, is that our social work program is really popular, and we have very limited space for our social work program. But every year, we receive numerous applications all around the world to want to enroll to our social work program. But unfortunately, due to the limited seats we have to turn down a lot of the applications. So this program is not just about the theories that you're going to learn, and you're not going to just talk about those that are in very surface level. You actually will be able to practice while studying. And for our Master of Social Work program, in order for you to enroll to this program, you will need to have a certain experience, a certain time of experience that you have worked directly with people. So you need to have a certain years of experience as well. So these are really a lot of issues that they cover, such as addiction, child and youth, mental health. So this is really on something that after you study this program, you are really into something that are going to help the society. All right. So, and this is really gaining a lot of attention from around the world. So check it out if you are kind of into this line as well. Okay, so the next that I'm going to show you is just to give you a brief idea. So for most of the international students, when you are studying abroad, when you're coming over to King's, for example, the first thing you will face is, all right, there is a change of my study style, right? So high school and university, the key difference is the way they study. So at university, the most major change that you will experience is, all right, there's no longer anyone that is chasing you to study. All right, in the high school, at some point or to a certain level, you will get your parents or you will get your teachers to come up to you and say, hey, this is about time for you to be more hardworking because you're going to have your exam, you're going to submit your coursework, that kind of thing. All right, but at the university level, none of these will be happening. You need to keep track of your time. You need to know that when is your submission day. You need to know how to prepare for your own exam. So these are really very important. So in order to help with those transitions, the first year schedule at King's normally is not hectic. Right? As you can see here, most of the time you only need to take 1 day per class. So what you're going to do in the other free times, right? So the most important thing that you have to keep in mind is those free time are not for you to go and play around. Those free time are actually let you to get yourself familiarized with the environment. All right. Those are the time for you to know that, all right, it's time for you to gain some extra studies, to gain some extra reading by yourself. You might either spending your time in your room, going through additional information that you have searched online, or you are spending your time in the library. All right, for some students who are looking to get some compensation or to get some support by doing part-time, these are the time that you have to plan accordingly as well. All right. So since we are talking about the work while studying, don't worry, I will cover that topic as well, but it's in the later slides. All right. So at King's, I'm just going to show you the tuition fee here. All right. For tuition fee for arts and the social sciences program, the tuition fee is around 36,000 per year. For international student, and if you are looking to study at our business program, as I mentioned, our business program is related to the Ivy Business School, so our tuition fee will be higher than the other programs. All right, so the 46,000 is for the business school. So this tuition fee I show here is not including the scholarship. So once you have included the scholarship, this amount will be reduced significantly. All right, so this tuition fee is the amount that you're going to pay per year. All right, of course, if you want to stay on campus, you can definitely do that as well. We do have the accommodation for our students, and we also offer meal plans for them to consider. So including the residence and the meal plan at King's, this is the amount that you have to budget for, all right? Around $13,500 for 1 year. All right, this is for 1 year. If you think that, okay, I can cook myself, I prefer my own home cooked food like the Indonesian flavored, so that's totally fine as well. If you only want to subscribe to the residents, the fees for the residents is somewhere around $8,500. All right, so then you can plan your meal spending or your living expenses accordingly. All right, if you do not want to subscribe to the meal plan, but again, this is something that we offer, and the meal plan is optional. All right, so that's in short. To give you some idea about our accommodation, so every year we have about 450 students. They are staying in our residence per year, and we have 5 different styles for the students to pick from. And 90% of them, they actually get their first choice of residence. So if you really want to find out how our rooms are looking like, just go and visit our website anytime. We kind of listed out all the different style, on our website. And of course, at King's, when we believe human interaction is really important, we do not just offer you a place to stay, right? We offer you something different for you to blend in or to help you with the transition when you come over to Canada. We have a lot of different activities that is organized for our students who are staying on campus, such as the brain bugs, right? For them to earn rewards when they have good academic performance, right? This is kind of like incentive for you to perform better. And we have the Kings at night for them to social with the students they are staying on campus as well. And also, this is really interesting to me. They have the exam time de-stress events, right? So if you're stressed when you're preparing for your exam, go for the free massage. They have the therapy animals. They would get animals to be on the residence to greet you, to play with you, so that you will have a good mental health. You will have a distressed time. You're not just focusing on your study. And this is really, really important. So all of these events actually is organized by the residents council unit. So, and it's happening every year. So this is something that I think is really cool and is really helpful for international students, especially those who have not stayed alone by themselves. All right, so now I'm just going to show you briefly about our admission requirement. So what is the average 80% showing here is actually the requirement we call the OSSD, which is the Ontario High School requirement. So for international students, if you are taking the national curriculum, this is the requirement that we are considering. All right, a minimum 7.0 or 70% for your high school. If you are taking other international syllables like IB, A-levels, or even from some other countries or foundation, we do consider those as well. Okay, so depending on which program that you are interested, for example, if you're interested in psychology program, in some curriculum such as the IB or the A-levels, they do have the psychology courses or the psychology subject. So if you have those would be a plus point for your application. All right. So again, if you're not sure of your admission what's your eligibility, don't worry. Just drop your documents to me. I will have a look and come back to you and inform you whether if you are eligible to apply. I will share my contact details at the later of the session. So of course, we do require students to take the English proficiency test as well, especially for those who've gone through the A levels and also those who have gone through the national curriculum. So generally, the most recognized or the most common qualification student would get is the IELTS. So if you compare to many of the UK, Australia, or even US institutions, Canadian institutions, they generally have higher English requirement. And for King's, we need a 6.5 overall with no components below 6.0. That is for IELTS. And for TOEFL, which is another popular test as well, we require a TOEFL IBT 85 to 90%. All right, so this is an average that we require with no element below 20 as well. So right, this is for TOEFL. During this time, we know it's COVID time. Probably you are restricted from taking these tests physically. And if you are choosing an online platform such as Duolingo, those are acceptable as well. But if you are not sure which platform that we are recognizing, again, feel free to drop me an email and I will get back to you on those requirements. Okay. So it's relatively easy to apply to Ontario University. So they have a centralized system over there, which is what we call the OUAC. For you to apply, if you are planning to apply to the universities in Ontario, such as King's University College, Western University, or even University of Toronto. So if you're planning to study in Ontario, this is the platform that you should consider. And there's an application fee that you have to pay, which is what I mentioned earlier, 166 Canadian dollar. So this is something that you can explore. Or if you're just thinking to apply to King's directly and you're not considering other institutions, it's even easier. What you need to do is just send me your academic documents, then I will help you to submit an application. And for this option, there will be no application fee. All right. If you submit your documents to me directly, there is no application fee. Okay. So the next thing is, I've been talking a lot about King's. I'm talking a lot about the cost of study at King's. So really, if you're considering to go study abroad, or if you're a parent who are considering to send your kids to study abroad, honestly speaking, it is not just about academic. It is not just about study. All right. If you only want your student, or if you just want to focus on your study, there are various different kind of choices for you to consider in Indonesia, or even in your neighboring countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, or even Vietnam as well. So what is the most important point when you are considering to study? All right. The following slides, I hope they will give you an idea what to consider when you are planning to study abroad. So the first thing is, when you're studying abroad, especially for the children who have not been living without their family, you need to know that you will be supported when you are over there on the campus. All right. So as I mentioned, this is really important because many of the international students, they would have the mental distress when they don't feel supported, or when they don't know where to reach out to when they are stressed. So this is really important for you to know that at King's, we do provide different kind of supports. We provide the counselor support. If you feel like you need someone to talk to, we have those supports as well. If you are feeling academically challenged, you need someone to guide you in your study, we have those covered. If you want to have an idea on career planning as well, we have all those things covered for you. So you know that for parents, you know that your children are in good hands when they come over to King's. And for the students, you know that there's always something for you to look for. And the other thing that is really important is when you're studying abroad, to enrich your experience, definitely you need to blend in with the activities over there. That's where you will get to know the people outside from your own community. That's also where you get to learn about the cultures of the experience of the lifestyle of different countries. So this is something what we call the get involved.
For the Western Mustangs football team, and the main reason why I chose to come to King's is because of the small class sizes and the community feel. Every time I step on campus, I feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself. So hopefully I see you guys on campus next year.
All right, so he mentioned that he is actually he's with the football team at Western. All right, so the Western football team is not the football that we know, it's the American football. All right, so the Western Mustang is actually one of the famous team among the universities in Canada. So what I'm trying to say here is that try to get involved when you are studying abroad, right? So when you get involved, you will get to blend into the different culture, you will get to know each other better, and most importantly, you will get to understand what is the culture in the abroad when you're studying abroad. So just one more perk as a King student is that you will be able to enjoy the games of Western Mustang for free with your student card. All right, so when you enroll at King's, you will get a Western student card, and that is actually like a huge pass for you to go to a lot of different places. So the word is your classroom. So what does that mean? What is that going to mean to you? So basically, at King's University, as King University College, we do have partnerships around the world. All right, some of our programs we are having partnership with different university, and that will allows you to exchange or transfer to other university just to have the experience. Like for example, if you want to go to Barcelona for a semester, that is something that you can do as well. So when you come to King's, you are not just limited to study in Canada. You're not just limited to study at King's. You also can bring your experience, or you can also get your experience from other countries as well. So now this is kind of like the last part of the session of my presentation. What are the main opportunities in Canada? All right. So why is this really important to you? Because what I'm going to show you is some opportunities for you to save your study costs, right, or to save your investment, and also how to get a better ROI. So study in university or study over abroad, I would always call it an investment. And when you spend something or when you invest in something, you're definitely hoping to get your return, right? Otherwise, why are you investing? So spending in education or higher education is actually a form of investment. So how are you going to reduce the cost to maximize your return? This is something that I'm going to share with you. The first thing is definitely we talk about scholarship. The second thing we will talk about your potential earning or salary in Canada. And the last thing is definitely how to maximize your internationalization experience. So I'm going to start with the scholarship. So as at King's, this is kind of like just to show, to remind you our tuition fee, around 36,000 to 36,000. So as a King student, when the moment when you enroll at King's, you will be awarded with an international student scholarship automatically. That meaning that you do not have to submit any application. You only need to submit your application for once, which is for your study seat. Once you have got that offer from King's, at the same time, you will also be getting some amount of the scholarship, ranging from close to $9,000 to close to $14,000. All right. So when you apply the scholarship to your tuition fee, you will realize that your tuition fee will be reduced significantly to around 26,000 Canadian dollar, or even to for highest will be somewhere around 33,000 Canadian dollars. So that kind of like brings reduce the amount significantly. All right. So what you see here is basically IWE is an international work experience program that we only offer to international students. So this is on application basis because we have limited seat for this. All right. Some of you might be wondering whether if this scholarship is only applicable for 1 year, or does it applicable to the whole study duration? So I would say it's a mix of both. So to explain to this is that the scholarship can be carried forward, but you need to meet your requirement, which is a minimum of 82% in order for you to maintain your scholarship. So if you manage to maintain your results, then of course you'll be able to maintain your scholarship. All right, that is very clear. So every year or just last year, we would award a lot of the tuition, the scholarship to our student. And just for last year itself, we awarded almost $3 million to our students because, as I mentioned, every student who enroll at King's, they will receive some amount of scholarship. Okay, so but one thing here I want to emphasize for this slide is the work-study program. As our students, you will be able to apply for the work-study program and get some, I would say, allowance to complement your study. All right, so you can work up to 15 hours per week and maximum hour of 165 hours per semester, and this is the amount that you will be receiving at the end of your study. All right, so this kind of brings another topic for most of the international students who always want to consider Canada, is the work while studying when you are in Canada. So this is one of the top reasons why Canada is very popular for international students, because many of the international students, they want to have the experience. At the same time, they want to supplement their living costs and enrich their experience. All right. So depending on which city that you are living, you can earn an average of $15 to $17 per hour. And again, remember that you are there to study and you are actually working with a student permit. So there are some restrictions that you have to follow. So you can only work a maximum of 20 hours per week for off-campus, and you can work full-time during your semester break. So do remember one thing which I always emphasize to my students is that when you are going to Canada with a student permit, what is your main priority? You always have to remember the main priority is your study. You are over there to study, but you're not there to work. All right. The work or your part-time job is only an avenue for you to get some allowance to support your study, at the same time to enrich your experience as an international student. So do remember, even if you are applying for these kind of opportunities, do not overdo it. All right. Don't try to get more money by working exceed the maximum hour, because when you got caught, you will get your student permit revoked and you will be sent back. So at the end of the day, you will lose your earning. At the end of the day, you won't be able to complete your study. So do keep that in mind. Do keep that in mind when you are studying and when you are getting this opportunity. Don't overdo it, and always remember to fulfill these requirements. Okay, so you have to have a valid study permit who is an active student at one of the institution, and we always call those institutions a DLI, a designated learning institution. That is a definition by the Canadian government. So you need to check it out whether if the university or the institution you are enrolling, whether is it a DLI. So even if you are a student over there, all right, so this is just to give you an example. Even if you are a student in Canada, but if your institution is not a DLI, you are not able to work over there, all right, as a student. So do keep that in mind when you are applying to an institution. Do make sure that the institution is a DLI, because that will affect a lot of things. So the next thing is this is also another popular reason why Canada is very, very popular among the international students, is that the postgraduate work opportunity. Okay, so if you might be thinking, all right, UK is also offering this, Australia always been offering this, so what's so special about Canada? So for Canada, they because again, Canada is being bothered by the aging population and the low birth rate. Their target to receive 400,000 immigrants. All right, I'm not just talking about normal immigrants. I'm talking about skilled immigrants, someone who can contribute to Canada, who can contribute to the society. They target to receive 400,000 of skilled immigrants every year. All right, so this is very, very important, and this opened up a lot of opportunities to international students, because Canada needs you. Okay. So again, in order for you to write on this opportunity, you need to fulfill the requirements. And as I mentioned, the DLI is really, really important, because if you enroll to an institution without a DLI status, you'll be in trouble. All right. If you are looking to work while studying, or even if you're trying to get your postgraduate work permit after your study. So do make sure that your institution is a DLI. And after you graduate, you have to apply the PGWP within 180 days. And also during your study, you have to maintain a full-time status during your study. And your duration of the study have to be a minimum of 8 months. So this duration of the study would also affect the duration of your postgraduate work permit. All right. If you only study for a minimum of 8 months, then you will only get an 8 month work permit. If you get a 9 month, then you will get a 9 month. If you get more than, if your study duration is more than 2 years, then if I'm not mistaken, your PGWP, it will be 2 years or 3 years. So that you need to check. You need to check on the website. So this is just to share with you the overall earning, the average earnings for fresh graduates in Canada. Again, this is also fluctuate depending on which city that you are working. Sorry. So the international fresh grad, they will earn normally an average of 48,000 to 59,000 Canadian dollar per annum. All right. So if you think that the amount is not great, try convert it to your currency. All right. And then start to think about, all right, if you graduate in Indonesia and you get a job in Indonesia as a fresh graduate, what is the salary that you are getting? So then you will know an idea whether if that worth your investment. And the second thing is, this is a news that published by the Pi News. So the Pi News is actually an analyst, or they are kind of advocates for the higher education. They are very, very active and well known. So based on the research that they have done last year, they found out that the earning differential between the international student and the domestic students is closing. All right. I mean, we have to admit that as an international student and a domestic student, when you're first starting a job in Canada, the difference of your earning will be that. All right, we can't avoid that. You'll be very lucky that if you earn the same as the domestic student, or if your differential earning is really small. But again, this is changing in Canada. So if you have gained certain experience working in Canada, your earning will be closing to those citizens in Canada. So when you start to work in Canada, your difference will be somewhere on an average of 21% compared to those citizens. But if you have worked for a few times, I think this is for 5 years, then it will drop to below 10%. All right. If you are a better employee, if you are a great employee, I'm sure that this amount will be reduced further. So this is actually a very positive impact because in Canada, this kind of differential is shrinking, and it's being more friendly to the international students or to the skilled immigrants. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. This might not happen in other countries. All right. So the last slide here is I want to introduce you, and this is something, if you don't remember whatever I said in the past 1 hour, this is something that you should at least remember as the King's Promise program. So the King's Promise program is the only, I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say only, but it's a signature program at King's that we offer guaranteed meaningful employment for students. All right. So how does it work? So the idea is why it called as a King's Promise is because it's a promise between the institution and the student. So if you decided to enroll to the King's Promise program, you need to fulfill a certain requirement throughout your study. So if you promise that you will do that, King's as an institution will promise you a meaningful employment. All right. So if you doesn't get a job 6 months after your graduation, King's will put you into a retraining program, all right, to get you to prepare for the career, and they will get there at the same time. King's is also working with a lot of different companies or even with the government agencies in the London city to help the students to get a meaningful employment. So this is what we promise to the student. That's why we call it the King's Promise. So if you're still here with me today, thank you so much. And I'm just going to give you a quick summary. And also, I'm really proud of you for staying until the very end of the presentation, because I know that not everyone would have the patience, or not everyone would actually be able to endure such a boring presentation. So this is a summary. I gave you an overview of Canada, why is it so popular. I also shared with you what is the cost of study in Canada. The main cost will be the tuition fee, but again, that is also depending on the institution that you are enrolling to, and also depending on the city that you are living. So what's so special about King's? We are very special. So our programs are really special. As I shared with you, we're putting a lot of emphasis in culture and business. We put a lot of emphasis in the social justice, criminology, psychology. So these are the specialized program we have. So what our students say about King's, right? So I think one thing you keep on hearing is that a small class size. So this is what commonly mentioned by our students. They like the small class size because that will help them to have a better interaction within the class, and also to help with their interaction with their lecturers. So the next thing is I explained to you what is the relationship between the King's and Western University. So King's is part of Western. When students graduate at King's, they will get a degree from Western University, and as a student, they can also access to all the facilities at Western. So the entry requirement, again, if you are taking a national curriculum, we need a minimum of 70%, and you also need to take the English requirement test. If you're unsure, you can always welcome to drop me an email. So I also share with you what are the support and services that we offer. And the last part of the slide, the last part of the session is basically I was sharing with you what are the opportunities that you can get in Canada as a student, which is the work while studying, and also the opportunity for you after you graduate, which is the post-graduation work opportunity. So that kind of summarizes the presentation that I have. I hope you'll be able to get something from the slides, and I hope you'll be able to remember some of the key points that I've shared with you. But again, if you are not sure, or if you are, if you always want to find out more about King's, feel free to follow us on our social media. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on a lot of other platforms as well. All right, so just search King's University College on Instagram or at Facebook, then you will find us. Thank you so much for staying till the very end of the session. And I believe that we are now open to Q&A, and over to you, Willie.
So thank you, Jian, for this. It's been very informative, and I'm sure it's very helpful to our audience listening to this. Now, just before we wrap up, though, I want to give you one final opportunity to give your final remarks, or maybe message, or maybe something that our audience needs to pay attention to with regards to their application to King's. So do you have any final words that you want to emphasize to this audience? Go ahead.
Right, that is slightly unexpected, but that's okay. Yeah, so the first thing is, although I really want you guys to just apply King's. King's is the only best university in Canada, but from the ethical side for me is make sure that you have surveyed carefully. You go around to survey other institutions that offers the program that you want, and make sure that the institution that you're looking is really a good fit for you. All right. The last thing I want is you enroll to an institution, but you regret about it. That's a choice that we don't want it to happen.
So with that note, Thank you very much, Jian. Thank you for the audience listening, and stay tuned because we'll be back again with a new webinar series. Thank you very much. Take care, and still observing the health protocols. Thank you.
Thank you.